Mary Kay Cabot, you have our next question.
Baker, how hard was it to operate today in those conditions? What was it like down there? Coach said he thought the wind was worse than the Raiders game. So give us an idea.
Yeah, it was way worse than the Raiders game, to be quite honest with you. Just the random gust. There was a lull in the game there, but it would just pick up out of nowhere. And when it gets in, it just kind of swirls and circles through the stadium, so you don't know which way it's really blowing. There was, we were affected by a couple of passes with the wind, but we dealt with it, and a win is a win. So dealt with the circumstances and came out with the win, and that's the most important part.
Thanks.
Hey, Jeff Shadell, you have our next one.
Hey, Baker, did you guys learn anything from that Raiders game? You said it was worse today, but you guys played so much better. Is it just because you had the healthy guys back?
I just think we, ran the ball when we really needed to. Some of those key short yardage situations that we converted on, we did the things we needed to, whereas we didn't convert against the Raiders. So, like we said, obviously our third down conversion rate wasn't what it needs to be, but we converted when we needed to.
Thank you, Jeff. Tony Zarella has our next question.
Baker, you kind of just hit on something. I think Nick and Kareem had combined for 59 yards at the half. And I know the weather was a factor, but is it hard to stick with that when they haven't put them, knowing they can in the second half? But is that a challenge at all?
No, that's part of, trusting the game plan, trusting the system, believing in whatever play we have called and the guys we have out there lined up. So, kudos to everybody just accomplishing what we needed to do whatever it takes to win.
Tony Patrick, your next question.
Hey, Baker, when you've had a couple of weather games in a row like this, how tough is it for the quarterback just because you're going to have limited opportunities?
It just means, to be more zeroed in and focused on those critical downs when we need to convert, just to make those count, make those opportunities count. Like we look at it against the Raiders, we only had a limited amount of series. So not just from my perspective, but in these games when both teams are trying to run the ball a little bit more, your opportunities are very limited, so you have to take advantage of them.
And then what did you see on the 3rd and 18 completion to Richard and then drawing the PI on that same drive to set up Nick's touchdown?
Yeah, they had on the 3rd down, just a 3-buzz coverage, stepped up in the pocket, and the defender in the flat didn't get deep enough, so was able to deliver a ball, and he made a great catch on the sideline, dragged his toes, and then the look on the PI, they had showed a zero blitz look earlier in the game and bailed out of it. And so, made a little check and gave him a chance, and the PI was called.
Thanks.
Hey, Baker, on that drive and then in the fourth quarter with the success you guys were able to have on the ground, do you think that was a matter of wearing the Texans down, or Nick and Kareem find another gear, or both?
I think it's both. I think, when you're able to have that 1-2 punch of those guys, being able to have somewhat fresh legs coming in late in the game. But you could tell that some of these runs that were going for 2-3 yards were starting to pop for longer. And it really does wear those teams down, which is why it's, we're blessed to have those guys in our backfield.
Thank you for Mary Kay Cabot next.
Baker, can you just talk about, last time we talked to you here, you guys were ticked off because of the way that you went into the bye. So how do you feel about the way that you came out of the bye strong and got your second half of the season started off this way?
Very proud of our team. Just overall with dealing with circumstances, defense playing lights out, offense, we can be better, but we did what it took to win. And special teams, for Cody to make all of his kicks in this wind, that's pretty special. So that's a great team win, but we're not done yet. And we talked about it. It's just something to build on and continue to improve, because there's still a lot of room for improvement.
Thank you.
Did y'all kick Rob out of here or what?
Probably so. Do we have any other questions for Baker? All right.
Rob, you need me to handle it? You're muted. Is this your first time on Zoom?
Hey, Baker.
Is it amateur hour?
What is happening?
You mentioned the defensive effort, but what about Miles making that big stop at Deshaun on 4th down, and the defense getting some stops on 3rd and 4th down, which it struggled with in the first half?
Yeah, I mean, they made great plays when they needed to. I think Miles took the approach of, real G's moving silence like lasagna.
Thanks.
Thank you, Scott. Back to Mary Kay Cabot.
Yeah, I don't know if we've talked enough about the contribution yet that Kareem made. I mean, just the way that he came in, even after Nick and with that 19-yard run on the final drive, and he just brings a whole different dynamic. Can you just talk about your two-headed monster that you have?
Yeah. Kareem, he brings that tempo that the electric runs to us. Nick will break those off and make long runs, but Kareem, the energy he brings into the huddle, he's constantly talking. They're two very different people, but I think that's the great part about it. So Kareem brings energy into the huddle, continues to fight off tackles, and just doesn't care what happens, just really wants to win in any way, which Nick is the same way. But it's great to see how they both lead in two very different ways.
Thank you.
We'll go to Nate Orr.
Hey, Baker, what was your view of that snap on the opening series? And then just how crucial was it for you guys in a weather game like this to come out with no turnovers?
Yeah, it's a tough one because the ball was wet. And JC told me to give him a second. We're trying to snap the ball quick break the huddle quick and get up there, lined up and snap it. And he told me to give him a second. So I thought I did, but